Alright, so I just recorded this whole line art for a new kind of thing I'm doing, and I forgot to put the SD card in the GoPro. Just goes to show you how skillful I am. But anyway, we can just do the coloring portion for this one, and this one will be a little bit shorter than all the rest. So this is a new series I'm going to be starting. It's going to be weekly, so once a week, and it's just going to be a little kind of channel update, narrated sketching, talking about art-related topics, because that's what I love to do. So, anyway, I drew this lovely photo of myself, making a very silly face, and I had a whole deep conversation about how things don't always have to be accurate and everything, and I completely missed it, because the SD card, the little tiny one, was not in the GoPro. Very sad. But lesson learned. That's how you learn, through your mistakes, which is also how it happens in art. Epic transition there. Haha. Yeah, I think. No. I want to do those color schemes again. Anyway, so the idea behind, I wanted to talk about sketching was the main thing, because it's what I'm doing right now. The main thing, let's see if we can adjust the camera a little bit. The amazing thing about a GoPro is I have it active on my phone and the preview over there. And I can actually see the footage. Hopefully it's not as choppy as what the preview is going on, but I think that's just the Wi-Fi connection between the phone and the camera. So, anyway, I want to talk about sketching because it's what I'm doing right now and it's quite relevant. Yeah, so sketching is a good way for an artist to practice and plan. The main reason behind it is to get better at drawing, of course, or painting, or sculpting, or whatever. You can sculpt, you can sketch with clay, actually. You can sketch with any art medium. It's just you have to think about it in the way of how you would apply that medium. Like for sculpting, a sketch would be perhaps a figure, or just a piece in general. That's sketching in itself. Like every single piece, everything in art is sketching. It's just some are more finished than others, hence why you have a finished piece versus a quote-unquote sketch. So for me, sketching these speed sketches is what I've labeled them, because it's kind of what they are. For me, it's just a way to experiment with color, because nowadays realism is important, but it's certainly not as important as it used to be. Because you have a cell phone or a camera on your head like this one, and it records in 4K 30 FPS or 1080p 60 FPS, which is very accurate to the human eye almost, and we're certainly catching up very, very quickly. So it's more important to be expressive in your art. It's not always about accuracy. Hence why this photo doesn't look exactly like the ridiculous face I made in the photo. But you can imagine, hopefully. And I'll be doing more vlogging type things, so you'll see my face eventually. But not yet. I don't have the proper setup to do it justice. So with sketching, for me, I use all these different random colors because I want to see how they work together. There's no method behind why I chose this certain color and why I didn't. It's just I felt it. It's like when you're imagine if you're playing a sport, you don't think about what you're gonna do. You just do it. You're like, oh, okay, I know what I need to do. It's innate. It's like walking almost. You just know how to do it over time. I mean, of course you have to learn, but at a certain point you don't really have to focus left, right. You just kind of do it. And that's the same thing here with art, with the way I pick colors for these pieces. Now I chose this light green because I just looked at the face and something about it was like, this looks like a light green. Now I'm going in with a red, which is a complementary color. Well, I mean, kind of. It's more like a stark opposite. But because they're opposites, it really highlights, and you get a really nice contrast. And so now it's more interesting because you're playing with the colors. For me, I find this to be very exciting. I like the way the colors bounce off of each other, and it provides a very interesting dynamic between the face, the lines, the sketch, and the way the colors work together, or against each other actually. And then it's also important to think about negative space. So I leave all these white spots on here because it's not always necessary to fill in everything to a cup of tea. You can just kind of let things be the way they are. So with this series, I intend to just talk about artistic topics like this, explain the process behind why I do things the way they do. Like I completely told. Well, again, I don't have a method for how I create the face. There is a bit of a method that I can explain, and that's what I did before I realized that the SD card was not in my GoPro. Anyway, so I use these Micron Pigmas because I like using ink. Because with pencil, you have the opportunity to erase. But with ink, once you put it down, it's there, and you just have to roll with it. And that's how you get these more realistic, how I felt in the moment. I like doing things in the moment. I don't like pictures of people smiling all the time. Now, I'll draw those, of course, but I like making these silly faces because that's a real emotion, how I felt during that moment. So, it's the same thing with art. In the way and how I apply the medium, I like the mistakes. Not everything has to be picture perfect. The mistakes are what make it human, make it real. For me, at least. Maybe not for everybody, but that's the way I feel about it. Anyway, so there is a kind of a method for how I apply my marker. First, I'll create the outline of the head because that's the most important part for composing purposes, and I'll go into composition in another episode because it's so important and integral to art that it deserves an episode all to itself. So I'll draw the face because that's important for composition purposes. Then I'll draw the ears again. Well, this whole thing is for composition essentially, but the face is the outline of the head is the most important part. Then you go in the ears because they're the next largest piece, and then from there you can look in the photo and see where to place the nose based on that. And then you put in the nostrils based on how wide you think the nose should be, and then usually the corner of the eye, the tear duct, will be in line with the nostril, or at some point between the ball of the nose and the end of the nostril. And then you can put in the eye, and you just eyeball it to see how large it is. And then usually the corner of the mouth will be lined up with the pupil, or the center of the eye. But in this case, because I was making a face, it's a little extended, so it's a little bit longer, and the eyes are a little bit more squinty than they should be in a standard picture. And then you just fill in the rest of the details. You know where the eyebrows go, above the eye, and then you fill in the mouth and judge the size of it based on how big it is. Now I'm going to need another color in here because right now it's a little messy. It's a little busy because there's only so much you can do with two colors. Now I have yellow for highlights, but I need another dark color to kind of establish a concrete base from which to juxtapose the colors against each other. And you also, for me, it's also important to vary your marks. You don't just want to do the same things over and over again because that's very boring. Like right now I had originally green as a shading color, but now I don't. Now it's just a lighter shade in the picture. Now we're going to go with yellow and fill in all those white spaces I left on purpose. Fill in a little bit of the eye. Fill in the nose, get that highlight in there. Now these three colors I've used before, and I really like the way they play off of each other, which is why I chose to do it here again. I think I'm going to get a blue, though, which is different from what I did last time with these colors. See how it plays. Maybe it'll ruin it, maybe it won't. I don't know. But we'll see. We could put some color in here to get the highlight in there. Maybe that'll be the yellow will be be the plastic of the GoPro on my head because I took a selfie. Because that's what you do nowadays. Got to be hip with the trends, you know. That's what you got to do. Now let's go over to my handy dandy colors over here. People still say that, I hope. Get a blue. Dark blue? Yeah, sure. Why not? Dark blue's great. It's great. It's a good color. Excellent color. Never seen a better color than this one. And now I have a real good juxtaposition for the hair. These markers are very handy, and the reason I like them so much is because, as you can see, now I have a purple in here in the hair because they're alcohol based. They're like Copic markers, Copic, whatever, and they mix very well. So you get a wide range of color from just a few markers, which is very nice. Let's just keep this blue on the outside because I don't think I'll have anything else as blue in the photo. And, like, you can leave spaces here too. You don't have to fill everything in always. Now hopefully I've finished this soon. We're about done. Just little touch-ups. Fill in blue for the black of the mouth instead of black. You should never use black. Now, I've used it in a couple things, but never use it on its own unless you're specifically going for a certain kind of style. You can make, now when I say don't use black, you can make your own black with a range of dark colors, which is more dynamic, and it really makes it your own. You should never use just base colors. That's why I like mixing them so much, because you really get a better range of a color, and it really becomes your own rather than right out of the box. Now I think I need more green, so I'm going to be more liberal in my application here. I think I need a teeny bit more red in this section because it's a bit overwhelmed. Again, being more liberal in my application still. And red is my darker tone, so I think, or at least to me, it's my darker tone in this section. A bit more green again, especially there. But that about does it for this, I believe. For this round, I still have to do this. We'll make it green and put some blue in there. So, again, with the mixing colors and everything, I'll show you firsthand what happens. Like, you can already see this is a bit different from this because of the way I applied. But now, if I go like this, it looks like a darker green. And if I go back over that with we want this to be dark, so do it like that. That looks good. If I go back over this blue with the green, it'll become even more of a green rather than a blue. See? Because it bleeds, which is a very good quality that these markers have. So anyway, this was sort of a stream of consciousness rather than a direct sort of topic. Like sketching, I kind of bounced all over the place. Hopefully that won't happen in the future. I'll do my best. Hold on. I didn't use lines like that before, so it really creates an interesting dynamic there. So I think that's pretty good. I need a little bit of red though. Yep. Okay, that looks about good. Take a look at that. Line it up with the camera like a professional. now we just have to sign it, and I think we're good. So anyway, again, this will be a weekly thing. Hopefully I'll be better at talking and staying on topic. But I'll see you all in the next episode. Hopefully you're enjoying the speed sketches. I'll be trying to experiment more with what I do on the channel to see what you respond to most. So if you could comment or subscribe or like the videos, dislike them even, I don't mind. I'd like to know what you like and what you don't like. I try to keep the speed sketches short because retention time is very important. I want to make sure you guys stay along with the video and you're actually enjoying it. I'm still learning how to edit certain videos, so you'll see in the next upcoming number 4 speed sketch, I believe. You'll see how I've been trying to work with the music in the background and try and amplify the enjoyment of the speed sketch rather than just watching me go like this for 2 minutes straight, which, albeit, isn't the most interesting thing, but it does provide insight into how I create these pieces. Thank you all. I'm Sole, and I'll see you all hopefully in the next video.